Each week, Epic Conflict features a high-profile StarCraft Wings of Liberty Best of 5 or Best of 3 series. We edit an entire series of games down to 20 minutes of fast and furious action. This week, we check out the Zotac Cup number 13 finals occurring on Sunday, May 30th. Two-time Zotac Cup winner Dimaga makes his 5th finals appearance against Satiini, making his first appearance in the Zotac Cup final round. It's the Zotac Cup veteran versus a newcomer, the Ukrainian menace Dimaga battling Finland's Satiini. It's Zerg versus Terran. This VOD series is for entertainment purposes only. Just sit back and enjoy the action. If any of the games spark your interest, download the replays and examine the games in depth. Game 1 takes place on Blistering Sands. Satiini's orange Terran base spawns in the bottom left-hand corner. Dimaga's green Zerg base spawns in the top right-hand corner. Dimaga's Zerg expands before building a spawning pool. Satiini places his barracks at the bottom of the ramp to wall off his base against any early Baneling or Zergling aggression. Satiini attaches a tech lab to his barracks before building any fighting units. Satiini's first fighting unit is a Reaper. Now, Satiini's Terran army scouts Dimaga's early Zerg expansion and attempts to build a bunker in the expansion money line. Dimaga stops this offensive bunker with several drones attacking the building SCV. 30 seconds later, Satiini's first and only Reaper invades the Zerg main base just as Dimaga's first 6 Zerglings are hatched from his main base. Satiini's Reaper kills what he can and then quickly runs from Dimaga's main base. Almost 4 minutes into the game and Dimaga has 0 Vespin gas income and 0 gas refineries building. Satiini swaps his barracks with his new factory to quickly give it a tech lab and immediately starts researching Infernal Pre-Igniter for any Hellions he's going to make later in the game. "90 seconds later and 3 upgraded high-speed Hellions drive right past Dimaga's expansion base defense and right into Dimaga's main base. The Hellions play hit and run, burning to a crisp the light-armored Zerglings and drones in Dimaga's main base. Dimaga's only queen desperately tries to kill the Hellions. No Vespin gas income for Dimaga means every unit he produces is light-armored, and those light-armored units get annihilated by Infernal Pre-Ignited upgraded Hellions. "60 seconds later, Satiini is tacking up with tanks. Dimaga builds stationary ground defense, and surprise, surprise, it looks like Satiini is going for Banshees. 30 seconds later, his Banshees have cloak researched. Dimaga's queens are useless, with no overseers to spot the cloak Banshees. The Banshees wreak havoc in both Dimaga's bases. Terrible, terrible damage is inflicted upon Dimaga's already weak economy. We're 8 minutes into the game, and Dimaga just got a lair. Finally, an overseer can be morphed, and the Banshees can be spotted by the queens and finally shot down. With no threat from Dimaga, it's SimCity time in Satiini's base, as he builds several barracks and attaches a reactor to his starport. Almost 10 minutes into the game, and Satiini expands. One minute later, Dimaga grows a Baneling nest and Roach Warren near his main base. After 10 minutes of gameplay, does Dimaga have anything but Zerglings? 2 minutes later, Dimaga moves in with 2 dropships, 2 tanks, more than 20 Marauders, Marines, and 120 supply worth of units overall. Satiini slowly pushes forward with his tanks. What does Dimaga have to stop this? A couple of spine crawlers and some roaches and queens. The stim-packed dancing infantry and siege tanks devour every roach Dimaga can throw at him. Finally, Dimaga drops the GG, and Dimaga can select the map for game number 2. Dimaga selects Steps of War for game 2. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner is Satiini's gold-colored Terran. Beginning in the top right-hand corner is Dimaga's green-colored Zerg Swarm. Satiini once again builds his barracks aggressively at the bottom of his ramp, hoping to erect a strong wall. No weak supply depot walls for Satiini. No early expansion for Dimaga in game 2 as he elects to build a spawning pool at his 14th drone. Dimaga quickly gets an extractor on top of his Vespin geyser to create early gas income. Just like in game 1, Satiini attaches a tech lab to his barracks, and his first offensive unit is a Reaper. At this point, Satiini's Reaper is met with several Zerglings and is forced back. At this point, Dimaga's larvae spawn one queen. Satiini's ramp wall is now complete, consisting of a partially built factory and one barracks, and Dimaga's Overlord scouts this wall. "30 seconds later, more than a dozen speed-upgraded Zerglings attack the barracks and factory wall. 2 lonely Marines shoot down the Zerglings while 2 SCVs desperately try to repair the barracks. More SCVs pile in to help out, while an additional Marine and tank pop out of the damaged buildings. The barracks goes down to only 100 health. The tank goes down as well. But the Zerglings can't finish the job. The Terran barracks barely survives. Finally, several Zerglings back off, realizing they can't break through. This is only temporary because the Zerglings return with 8 Banelings, and every Baneling is suicided into the barracks. While the Zerglings were away, SCVs repaired the barracks back to full health, and the structure survives the searing acid of 8 exploding Banelings. After the pressure is off, Satiini starts building a starport and an armory in his main base. For the 3rd time, Satiini tries to build a tech lab on his factory, but once again the tech lab goes down. 1 minute later, Dimaga starts an expansion base and also plants a spire in his main base. 30 seconds later, and Satiini builds a Banshee that is finally able to get the Zerglings near his main base to back off. The Banshee chases the Zerglings all the way back to their main base. The Banshee spots an undefended expansion hatchery and starts to attack. Dimaga's only queen slowly moves from his main base to his expansion. And the Banshee finally backs off after taking the hatchery down to 20% of its health. Nine minutes into the game, and Dimaga has 2 bases, 1 Baneling nest, 1 spawning pool, and 1 spire. 10 minutes into the game, and Zerg is still knocking on Satiini's front door, but this time with several Mutalisks and several Zerglings. A Thor, Siege Tank, and Banshees force Dimaga to back off. Both players now have expansion bases. 5 Mutalisks stick around and pick off SCVs building missile turrets in the expansion base, but the Thor finally forces the Mutalisks back. 2 minutes later, and 12 minutes into the game, Satiini's Marines have the shield upgrade, while all his infantry benefit from the stim pack upgrade. Satiini sits at 87 food supply, and 1 minute later, Dimaga has over 100 food supply, and 2 bases filled with mining drones. In a bold offensive maneuver, Dimaga loads 3 Overlords with Zerglings and Roaches. He spent big dollars getting those 2 Overlord upgrades to make this attack possible.